hope everyone can hear me okay. Um, I wanted to come on to do a video really quickly and talk a little bit about a topic that I saw kind of circulating from, I would say, just someone that I watch for spiritual advisement. And so her question was, who teaches us to let go? So my name is Sequoya, and I use she and her pronouns. And I am a therapist and a yoga practitioner, and I also do some intuitive energy reading. And so, I wanted to center this live on who teaches us to let go. I was intrigued by that question. She did a video on it. Her name is the Shira Star Goddess, and I was drawn to the title, because it triggered some kind of family, intergenerational patterns, like inner child stuff. And it made me think more about like I grew up in a household with my mom and my dad until I was 9 or 10, and then they got divorced. And so, predominantly, was around my mom and, my dad in separate households, but grew up with my extended family. So I, watched just their dynamics with people, and that question about who teaches us to let go. I don't think I ever got a lesson in that. I don't think I ever really got a lesson in how you end relationships with people and what that really like looks like and translates to. And so, like that just made me think about that kind of aspect of it. I knew growing up, clearly that relationships ended, whether they be, with other people or anything like that. But how you got from being in relationship and community with someone to then not being in community and relationship with someone, I didn't really get a lesson in that. The other thing that I wanted to bring up too, related to letting go, is also like work and professional, kind of based around like burnout, self-care, and knowing like when you're at capacity and when you need to step back. I remember when this was during the time when I was living in Denver and had applied for some domestic violence conference to do a presentation. And, with those types of things, like usually it's months in advance, that they do call for presentations and, you submit. And so by the time the conference actually rolled around, I was not in a place where I could facilitate anything like that. And so I didn't present. And so a few months after that, I met someone who was actually scheduled to come to my workshop. And she said to me, and this was an older person, someone that I actually really respect and that I'm not in community with anymore. But she said, that me canceling my workshop actually was just an example of the way that you can take back control, to not feel obligated, to, if you don't have capacity to do something, that you can take a step back, that you can make that choice for yourself. That she hadn't ever seen anyone do that before, but that kind of opened up, and I'm getting like Jupiter kind of expansion energy, like that just opened up a way for her to exist and be. And so related to this conversation on who teaches us, to how to let go, I kind of I'm going to sprinkle in a little bit of astrology and tarot, and, all of this is intuitive. These things are kind of coming to me. But one of the things that I did write down was the Six of Swords. Like, that letting go is definitely a meditation on the energy of the Six of Swords card. And so if you are familiar with tarot or oracle readings, I would definitely, like, you can Google or even just like look up hashtags to say Six of Swords energy. But the card is, it's a picture of someone in a boat. There are three people. So there's one person that's kind of like steering the boat, and then there are two people in the front of the boat, and there are six swords in that boat. And that card kind of represents, learning your lessons and moving forward with, the things that you have learned on your journey, and that, those things go with you when you go to the next thing. And so, it is definitely, I think, just a really good example of really embracing being able to let go of things, when it's time. It also makes me think of, and I have some little notes here. I don't have this on here, but it makes me think of, also like that attracting and chasing energy too. So if we are always in the energy of not understanding, when it's time to move on from one thing to the next, you put yourself in this place where you're not attracting what you want, you're chasing things. And so also knowing that people, places, and things are cyclical. It's all based on cycles, right? So when you initially kind of build relationships or commit to people and places and things, you are in a particular place, right? You have knowledge up until that point, and then you kind of grow in that process. And in that growing, maybe it's you've outgrown those people, places, and things, or those people, places, and things are not serving your highest good. And so, yeah, like knowing that that shift can happen for you if you take an action-oriented position to what you have going on. And if you are someone that is very intentional about your energy related to just that attracting and chasing kind of dynamic, I think that that will be helpful, as a marker related to when you know that, okay, I'm no longer attracting this people, place, or thing anymore. Now I'm chasing it. And what does that mean, right? Another example that I want to give about who teaches us how to let go is sports related. So Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles, they both pulled back from their particular sporting, areas. Naomi Osaka is tennis, and then Simone Biles is gymnastics. And so they both pulled back from competitions because of their mental health, right? And so a lot of their critics, gave feedback about taking steps back from really big opportunities and what that could potentially do to your career, and what that means and what kind of position that could potentially put you in. But choosing yourself is never wrong, and to me that is absolutely what they both did. Them stepping back is also an example of faith, knowing that when I choose myself, that is right. And whatever is on the other side will be for me, because I'm making this decision to step back from this particular thing based on what I know about myself now. And once I get through whatever this thing is that's causing me to step back, I'll have some different knowledge. I'll be in a different place. And that's not wrong. Okay. Let's see. What else did I want to say? Choosing yourself and then your self-worth, not being connected to people pleasing. And so if we continue this example with Naomi and Simone, right? Like them deciding to, if they decided to continue to move forward, in those positions, they would have been in this energy of chasing and people pleasing, not listening to their inner self, not listening to their higher self, right? They would have put themselves from being in an attracting energy into a chasing energy. And so making those connections are super important too. The last two kind of things that I want to say about this are when you are in the energy of being intentional about attracting and chasing self-worth, choosing yourself, you're also practicing non-attachment and checking in about toxic loyalty. So with practicing non-attachment, that is that place of having faith or knowing that I'm making the best decision for myself, not being attached to the outcome of things, but the journey, right? And so if non-attachment is a practice, that is new, that is definitely something that I would suggest to look up more. The other thing that I wanted to check in about is toxic loyalty to people, places, and things, right? And so toxic loyalty is, kind of in the same energy of toxic positivity. But with toxic loyalty, we're talking about being loyal to, again, people, places, and things that do not serve us. And the toxic piece comes in because if you are loyal to things that are not loyal to you or not good to you, then you will probably be engaging in some type of behaviors to make yourself be more accessible, accept whatever you're getting, because you feel like you have to kind of still be attached to, again, people, places, and things, whatever that is for you in your life. So yeah, we talked about a lot of different things, but we got the Six of Swords energy. I would definitely look up the Six of Swords. And also, if you look up images for the Six of Swords, I think that would be a cool thing to, meditate on and see the difference in how the cards look based on how to let go. We talked about self-worth. We talked about choosing yourself, people pleasing, non-attachment, and toxic loyalty. I don't know if I mentioned with the toxic loyalty piece that is also connected to trauma and inner child work. That's needed, especially again around like that people pleasing kind of piece. So I hope that was helpful. I'm going to link, I'm going to blog about this a little bit more, and I'll have resources attached. There are a few folks that did some videos recently about how to let go that I think will be super helpful, especially, as we move into this year, as we move into, the new year, if you practice, the new year, starting around March 20th, March 21st, and also thinking about new moon and full moon energy too, right? Like if we're thinking about a lot of these concepts as we move into any type of moon practices, I think that this would be helpful. So thank you.